You ever have that heart-stopping moment after you filed your taxes? That, oh no, did I make a huge mistake feeling? Well, today we're talking about a really important lifeline in the GST law for when things go, well, seriously wrong. It's a way to settle a major issue without facing the absolute worst consequences. So let's get right into it.
Look, a tiny typo is one thing, right? But what happens when the mistake isn't tiny at all? We're talking about the kind of error that gets you noticed by the GST department, and not in a good way. The kind of thing that can have some pretty major consequences.
And by major consequences, I'm talking about prosecution. Yeah, this isn't just about paying an extra penalty. This could actually mean a criminal trial, court cases, and in the most serious situations, even jail time. So the threat is very, very real. But there is a way to handle it before it ever gets to that point.
And that way out is called compounding of offense. The easiest way to think about it? It's like a settlement. You're basically acknowledging the mistake and paying a specific fee to completely sidestep the whole criminal prosecution process. It's an off-ramp from a really bad road.
So, here's our game plan. We'll start by looking at just how serious these mistakes are. Then we'll introduce the compounding lifeline. After that, we'll do a full walkthrough of the process, cover the critical decision moment, talk about the all-important payment, and finally, see what success actually looks like.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, a serious GST mistake. This is really where it all begins.
You know, this quote right here just gets straight to the point. It's the whole reason this process even exists. I mean, if you're in a really tough spot, these are probably the most comforting words you could possibly hear. It just boils this whole complex legal thing down to one simple, powerful outcome.
So when can you actually use this lifeline? Well, there are really two main moments. You can be reactive, meaning the department has already sent you an official notice that they're going to prosecute. Or you can be proactive. You know you've messed up, a demand order is out there, and you want to get ahead of it and settle things before they officially start the prosecution process.
Okay, moving on to Section 2, let's look at the actual tool that makes all this happen, and that is Form GST CPD-01. Now, to make this all feel a bit more real, let's follow the story of a hypothetical taxpayer. We'll call him Mr. A. So Mr. A is in some pretty hot water over fake input tax credit, which basically means he claimed tax credits he shouldn't have. We're going to follow his journey as he tries to use Form CPD-01 to sort this all out.
All right, Section 3. This is really the nuts and bolts of it all. We are going to walk through, step by step, exactly how Mr. A, or anyone in his shoes, would navigate this whole application from start to finish.
So the journey has 5 main steps. First up, Mr. A files the form online. Simple enough. Second, a GST officer looks over his application, checking out the offense and his past history. Third, that officer might ask for more info or even schedule a hearing, which Mr. A absolutely has to reply to or show up for. Fourth, if needed, a hearing can be postponed. And finally, step 5, the officer makes a call and issues an order.
Now, the very moment Mr. A hits that submit button on the portal, a few things happen right away. The system spits out an application reference number. That's his tracking ID. His application status officially flips to submitted, and he gets an instant confirmation by email and SMS. The digital paper trail has officially begun.
Okay, on to Section 4. After all the back and forth, the hearings, the replies, we get to the most important part of the whole process, the decision. For Mr. A, it really boils down to 2 main paths. The best case scenario is compounding allowed. That's a big win. His request is approved, and he gets an official order telling him to pay up and settle it. The worst case, of course, is compounding rejected. This means that lifeline is pulled away, and the threat of prosecution is right back on the table.
But there's actually a third possibility here, kind of a curveball. An approval can be withdrawn. See, if the department finds out later that Mr. A lied, or hid important facts, or used fake documents to get his application approved in the first place, they can just cancel the whole thing. The lesson here is pretty clear. You have to be completely honest through the entire process. No exceptions.
Now for Section 5. Let's say Mr. A got the good news. His application was approved. That's great, but he's not out of the woods just yet. The payment stage is the final, and I mean final, hurdle.
And it comes with a deadline that is absolutely set in stone. The moment that compounding order is issued, Mr. A has exactly 30 days to pay the fee. If he misses that window by even a day, the approval becomes totally void. It's like it never happened. And there are some really crucial rules for this payment. First, any outstanding tax, interest, and penalties, all of that has to be paid off before he can pay the compounding fee. Second, there's that 30-day deadline we just talked about. And third, and this one's super important, the payment can only come from his electronic cash ledger. That's basically his online wallet with the GST department. He can't use his input tax credits for this. It has to be a real cash payment.
So, a pretty logical question pops up here, right? What if Mr. A looks at his electronic cash ledger and there's not enough money in it? Well, the process is actually pretty simple. He just has to create a challan on the portal to deposit the money he needs into that cash ledger. Then he can make the payment.
And that brings us to our final section. Section 6, the final outcome. This is it. This is the positive result that Mr. A has been working so hard for.
So once that payment is made on time, everything just clicks into place. His application status on the portal updates to compounding fee paid. If the department had already filed a complaint against him in court, they'll withdraw it. If they hadn't gotten that far, then they won't start one now. The case is officially finally closed, and Mr. A can finally breathe a massive sigh of relief.
And just to help you keep everything straight, think of this table as your little cheat sheet. It breaks down all the key application statuses you might see on the GST portal. It takes you right from the beginning, submitted, through all the twists and turns, all the way to that beautiful final status, compounding fee paid. It's a great way to know exactly where you are in the process.
So that brings us to one last question to chew on. What is this compounding process really? Is it a genuine second chance to make things right after an honest mistake? Or is it more of a calculated strategic exit from a legal battle that you really don't want to fight? The answer is probably somewhere in the middle. Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.